Well, hey there, folks. Welcome to the Roundup. We're a podcast featuring voices, opinions, perspectives, and experiences from interesting people in and from the Cowboy State. I'm your host, Wendy Core, and today I just cannot get over the fact that I'm getting to introduce people in Wyoming who may not have heard of Hannah Barefoot. Hannah Barefoot is Hannah, can I say up and coming or can I say experienced? Which is it? Because you've been in LA for several years now.
Yeah, I mean, I am experienced. I'm not famous, which is how honestly most actors are. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm a working actor. That's what I am.
That is what you are. You are a working actor living in Los Angeles, but your roots are deep here in Wyoming, in Cody in particular. So Hannah, let me first off by saying I first knew you and I first met you when you were a girl. You were a little girl. We went to the same church. Your maiden name is Hannah Kellerby. So for people in Cody area, Hannah Kellerby. But you married a wonderful man named Andy Barefoot. And so you've got this really unique, wonderful name that people probably think is made up, but it's not.
No, they always ask me if it's a stage name. And I'm like, nope, it's the real thing. It's the real thing. It's also not Native American. People ask me that too. And it's not, it's English. My husband is English Scottish. So kind of came from that.
Very good. So Hannah Barefoot, you left Wyoming and you made it to the big city of Los Angeles, and you've made it as a working actress in a very, very competitive industry. So let's start out, Hannah, by talking about how did you break out of little Wyoming to get to Los Angeles and work on shows, might I say, folks, like NCIS, like Chicago Med, like The Chosen. We're going to talk about that later. You have just made a fantastic career for yourself. How did you get from Cody, Wyoming to Los Angeles, Hannah?
Well, thank you, Wendy. Well, first of all, I'm so happy to talk to you. I babysat her kids, you guys. Like we go way back. So I got such a great start in Wyoming. And I mean, I had so much encouragement. It was honestly the only thing I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid, other than being a figure skater and a ballet dancer. And then anyways, when like neither one of those seemed like they were going to work out, I was like, acting, that's it. And I had so much encouragement just through like great community plays, Missoula Children's Theater coming through, the Rotary Show, the Kiwanis All-Star, what was it called? Stars of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Stars of Tomorrow. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. And then, you know, the amazing middle school and high school theater department. Oh my gosh, like my teachers were so amazing. And so before I went off to college at the University of Wyoming, I'd already had so much encouragement and just fallen so deeply in love with this industry. And I knew nothing about it, I'll say that, but I was in love with the illusion of this industry, I should say. And I went off to college at the University of Wyoming, which has a phenomenal theater and dance department. Loved it. It's a kind of a best kept secret, I think, that you can go to University of Wyoming, which is not a state known for acting, and get one of the best theater educations, I think, anywhere. Also being smaller, you can be on the main stage early on in your career as a student versus like some of my friends who I've met who went to, say, USC or, just a fancier school, they might not get on a main stage play until they're a senior in college, which is ridiculous. I was on a main stage my first semester at University of Wyoming, and it was a great school. I actually quit though. I quit school. I was burned out. I was on scholarship, so I was in play after play after play. I had no real grounding to myself. I was struggling as a human being, honestly. And I met this guy that I fell in love with, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get married and I'm going to quit acting. I'm just going to go be a wife somewhere. And he got a job in Portland, Oregon. And so we moved out there, and it wasn't until a few years later, I had a baby at this 2-year-old. And I really started to feel like, no, that's the only thing I love. That's the only thing I'm really good at. I was working at a bank and insurance agency, just terrible. I was so bad at those kind of jobs. And something about having this 2-year-old child and trying to raise him in a way that would bring out the best of him, like it inspired me to realize I'm not doing that for myself. I'm not doing what's at the deepest part of me. And so up in Portland, Oregon, I started taking acting classes and eventually got an agent up there. There's a small film industry up there. There's a lot of non-union projects up there. So I just started doing like local car dealership commercials and working in short films or student films or like free movies, whatever I could do. And eventually I joined the union because there's enough union commercials that come through. And there, you know, and then I was on the TV show Grimm up there. In my very first TV role ever, honestly, it was like, I look back at it, you can see my bangs for like half a second. That's because that's the extent of which my role was. But it was a real role. It was accredited, and I got paid, and I joined the union. And so once I joined the union, though, I couldn't work in a non-union market anymore. So after I joined the Screen Actors Guild as the union, I should say. So then we moved to Los Angeles with my husband and my then almost 5-year-old son, and yeah, it's been a ride. That was now 9 years ago. We've been in LA for 9 years, which is amazing. And man, it's not an easy industry, but now I have, I mean, I should say the illusion of the industry has worn off. It's not, it's not what it once was to me, but I love it more. I love acting. I actually really feel called to the industry itself, not just to being a star. I don't, you know, that's not really my path. I feel called to the industry. I love this industry. I love actors. I love filmmakers. And yeah, I still love, like, I love old Hollywood. It just gives me like goosebumps. But I love it. And so now I've had over 62 credits on TV and film. And I'm just really thankful that God has allowed me to come back in from this long stretch where I wasn't pursuing, and I really thought that I'd missed my window. You know, all my peers that I were in college with, they were now like seeming to work. And I was just like, well, maybe I'm washed up. But I'm just so thankful that I'm here, and I'm, you know, like I said, I'm not a famous actor, but I'm a working actor.
Yes.
And that is something that I'm really proud of, because that's a very good place to be. And it's a very satisfying place to be.
And it's difficult to get there when you're working, like you say, to get those continuous roles to make a living. You've managed to do that. And you model as well, right?
I do. I don't model so much as I used to.
I remember the first time I saw you in a Starbucks commercial, and I just like, oh my gosh, that's Hannah.
Yeah.
What is she doing in a Starbucks commercial?
That was my first job in Los Angeles. That was my very first job. It was a print ad. And
yes.
Yeah. I think I'd been in LA for a month and I got that job. I was like, this is going to be easy.
Yes. And then it's not as easy. But let's go back to some of these roles that you have played. You've been in the major television series. You've the first time I remember, and just full disclosure, I go to church with her mom. And so Anita keeps me informed as to, oh, Hannah's going to be doing this and Hannah's going to be doing that. So yeah. I keep an eye out. But I remember when she was telling me all these wonderful things that you were doing, she's going to be on NCIS. I'm like, okay, that is my absolute favorite television show. Sure enough, there's Hannah. Hannah's on NCIS talking with Leroy Jethro Gibbs. It was it was a mind bender for me. But you've done so many of those now.
Let me tell you, Mark Harmon is the nicest actor I've ever met. The nicest,
really?
One of the nicest people. Yeah, so I was a guest star on there. There's different tiers of billing. So that role that I had on Grimm was a non-speaking co-star, my very first. It was essentially an extra. And then you work up to co-star, and then there's guest star and recurring, and then there's series regular. There's all these things. And on NCIS, I was a guest star. So I was a major part of the story, but I'm not a part of the regular cast. And but I was on set with them for, I want to say, like 4 or 5 days. And my very first day, I show up and I was just like hungry. I wanted to grab a cup of coffee or something. Couldn't find where this was. Out of nowhere, Mark Harmon just walks up to me. He's like, you look like you're lost. Can I help you? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Coffee. And then he everyone was on a little bit of a break. So he's like, come sit with us. And he was sitting with like the props guy and a grip and all these people. He's just he's a major star, and he's so normal, just so nice. And he even invited me, like, my mom was selling her property at the time up on Sage Creek. And I was telling him how sad I was that she was selling it and I wanted to buy it. And I was like, do you want to buy it? And he's like, well, show me the pictures. So I showed him my mom's property, and I mean, he didn't buy it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
but
No.
he was the nicest actor. Yeah.
I bet you've got so many of these stories that you rubbed elbows with the celebrities that we all know, and they're just regular people, but the only thing that sets them apart is that so many people know who they are. And so you've had that, but you've also been the star of some of these shows. The number of Lifetime movies, how many did you say you've done?
I've actually done 7 or 8. Yeah.
Lifetime movies. You have been the star in several of those. I remember your country Christmas card. Is that country Christmas album?
Yeah.
Country Christmas album. I remember watching that and like, there she is. She's the star of this. And you sang on that one as well.
I did. Yeah, that was really fun. That was, yeah, I played a country singer
Yep,
and was forced to make an album with a pop star, and we of course fell in love.
of
And
course.
that was cool because I am a singer in real life. My husband and I have a band and called the Luminous Gray.
Thank
And
you.
so I got to sing on camera, which was so much fun. I got to play the guitar. I'm not an amazing guitar player, but I played it on that. And that was really fun. And then what was really cool was that my husband and I, we write a lot of music together. And there was a moment in the script where I noticed she's playing a song and she's singing a song, but we don't know what song that is. And so I was like, can we'll write it. And so we wrote it and we recorded it, and then they used it, and people downloaded a lot. And we did that for another song or another movie as well. There was another film I was the lead in called Off the Rails, which was
It was very dark. It was a scary
yeah,
movie. That was a thriller.
that one was a thriller. I loved that one. It was really good. About a woman who is trying to piece back her life, of like trying to figure out who her husband is versus her lover.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Very
salacious.
lifetime, very lifetime movie.
Yeah, but it was actually a really good one. There's variations. There's some that I'm like, and then there's some that are like, oh, that's actually a good movie. This was a really good one. And we wrote a song for that plays over the entire final sequence of the movie. And that one, I'm really proud of that song. That one's called To See Your Smile.
See Your Smile by The Luminous Gray. You can find that on Spotify and Apple Music, and you can download it anywhere, right?
Yep. And then the other song for Country Christmas album was called Geronimo. And it's
Geronimo.
a really good song. Yeah.
I love the fact that you and Andy get to work together in this
Yeah.
high pace, in this fast paced job that you have, this career that you have. You and Andy are finding ways to make things work together
Yeah.
and raise your son. And
Right.
in,
Yeah.
in
Yeah, and it's cool. I work in his industry too. So my husband's a worship pastor at a church, and I sing with him every weekend. So we are very we work really well together for each other's paths, which is great.
That really is.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have loved watching on your social media is you post really fantastic pictures from various either modeling shoots that you've done or headshots, things like that. Like you say, you love old Hollywood. You love, I kind of get the idea you love playing dress up.
I do. Yeah. Who doesn't? I love it. Yes.
But you also there was a time where you were posting a bunch of pictures, like action stuff, and you were
Yeah.
fighting and you had all the
Yeah.
blood and things like that. Tell me about that, because that looked really entertaining.
Yeah. So I do a lot. I love action. I love performing action sequences. I would love to be in a movie like Mission Impossible. That's like such a dream. But yeah, so honestly, what happened when I was in Portland, I was coming up and I was becoming the leads of a lot of things, but I was being cast a lot as the nice girl next door, the sweet, like, just pretty girl who's like victim all the time. And I was just getting so bored of those characters. Like they have a place for sure, of course, always, but I was just not having fun playing those time after time after time. So I wrote an action film called Incendio. It's a short film and you can watch it on YouTube. And I wrote it simply for the point of showing other people that I can do more. And so I wrote it. She has an accent. She's quite not a nice person. And it's about a blind date that goes terribly wrong. And essentially what happens is they beat each other up in this restaurant. So
Oh my.
by the end of the film, we're all very bloody, and it's really fun. I don't even know if it's a good story. It's probably not, but it was the first thing I ever wrote. And what is good about it is the action is awesome. So I hired a stunt coordinator and a great cinematographer, and we just created this action film. It was kind of very John Wick
Oh, okay.
inspired action. So what was cool about that was after I did that and we submitted to festivals, we got into 17 festivals internationally. So it actually was really successful. And then all of a sudden I have this footage of me being tough and being strong. And then I started getting cast as the villain in all sorts of,
Oh my gosh.
and I get to do a lot of those roles now, which I love. So I would tell that to anybody. I mean, anybody who's in my industry, but I think also in anything, like if people don't think you can do something, you just need to figure out how to do it. And then once they can see that you can do something, then they're like, oh yeah. But I think a lot of times people just need to like be shown the way a little bit. So I don't play the sweet girl next door very often anymore, which I'm fine with.
You're fine with that? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you have certainly had quite a range in your roles, obviously. Let's talk about one of your most recent roles that is just, I mean, everybody is watching The Chosen.
Oh
It
yeah.
is such a, it's
Yeah.
become so popular. It is, of course, about the life of Jesus. And you have a recurring role in The Chosen. Tell us about this. I think this is fantastic, Hannah.
Yeah, that's been really special. I love that show. And it's interesting because I was aware of that show, but my reps weren't submitting me for it because it was, a faith-based project. They weren't sure what the quality would be and all that stuff in the early seasons. But I kept watching it and being like, I love this show. I want to be on this show. I want to be part of telling this story. And interestingly enough, I booked a big role on a TV show that I was so heartbroken. I had to turn down because it conflicted with 2 days of a show I was already on. And I was just heartbroken. And then that same day, I got a call from my agent that I booked, that The Chosen wanted me for this one episode. And I was like, it just like came out of nowhere. And it was such a gift. And essentially my character's name is Livia, and I play one of the major characters in the show. His name is Gaius. He's a Roman centurion, and he's deeply a beloved character in the show. People just have loved him from start to finish because he's got a great journey. And so now in season 3, they started to introduce his family. So I play his wife. And then I'm in season 4 again as well. My episode is actually in theaters right now because they're releasing them in chunks in theaters, and then they're going to move it into streaming. So by the time this airs, mine will be out of theaters, but then it'll be on streaming at some point. And then I hope I come back. I'm not sure. My storyline's not really closed, but I also don't know what they're going to do with me. But it's been such a great. It's an amazing group of people. What's remarkable about that show is that it's all crowdfunded. So we were able to shoot during the actors strike, which happened last year, because we weren't striking against them. Like they were not part of the companies that we were striking against. And so we were able to actually qualify for what was called an interim agreement, which allowed us to continue shooting during the actors strike. So and that's all just because they're crowdfunded. They're not connected to any studios. They're just themselves. And it's really a remarkable, differently done show that now at this point is just like the quality's gotten, it's so good. The acting is amazing. The sets are amazing. The costumes, the writing. I was able to see the first several episodes of this season in theaters, and they're just so good. They're so good. Yeah.
What an exciting project to be a part of. You've grown so much in the industry, like you say. You're not just acting and modeling anymore. You really have gotten behind the scenes. You've written Incendio, but you are working on another project that's even bigger than that, and you want to bring it home to Wyoming. Tell us, Hannah, about Midnight Clear.
Yes, thank you so much. So I've written a feature film called Midnight Clear. It's actually my second feature that I've written. I have another one that I'm shopping around as well, but this one is the one that's the most dear to my heart because it's set in Cody. All the locations are Cody. I mean, it's set at a dude ranch that's an actual family friends dude ranch out in between Cody and Yellowstone. And I grew up with this family. I swam with their daughters on the swim team. So as I was writing this story, I was just like, yeah, I know what that kitchen looks like. I know that. And then of course there's a scene in the Cowboy Palace, that wonderful Western wear shop on Main Street. There's a scene in the Irma. There's a scene at Cassie's. There's all these scenes in all these places that as I was writing this script, it just came so easily.
It took you home, I'm sure.
Yeah. And what was really cool was that I wrote this script several years ago, actually, the first iterations of it. And as I was shopping it around to different people that I was working with out here, they all really liked it. They like, oh yeah, we love this. This is great. But we'll shoot it in Canada. Or, oh yeah, we love this. We'll shoot it in Montana. We can sub Montana for one. And I'm like, no, because Wyoming doesn't have a film incentive. And those other places do. Montana, Utah, New Mexico, all these places that could play Wyoming all offer film incentives, which make it's just an obvious choice for a filmmaker to go if they need a Rocky Mountain scene. Like they also want the 30% tax rebate that they would get. So I mean, it makes a lot of sense to shoot in a state with a tax incentive. But I just couldn't do it. At the time, this movie actually had Wyoming in the title, and I was just thinking I would be so mad if I shot this movie with Wyoming in the title in Montana. I love Montana, but come on, I'm from Wyoming, and it has to be here. And so somebody advised me, just go to Wyoming and see, go start talking to these locations, see who you can line up, And so my mom, again, God bless her, my mom flew me out. She was like, I've got miles. So she flew me out, and I just spent basically 3 or 4 days talking. I went to the airport because there's a scene in the airport. I went to the Cowboy Palace, to all these places, Cassie's, all these places, and they were all just like, yeah, you can shoot here, just the most generous people. And I spoke with Cody Yellowstone, which is an organization with Ryan Houck and Kelly Eastis, and they were just basically like, yeah, we want to help you however we can, whatever we can do. And then I met through another mutual contact. I met a director who happens to live in Cody, who also owns one of the premier visual effects companies in Los Angeles and New York, but he lives in Cody, and he's a director. His last movie had Robert Duvall in it.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met him, and he's terrific, and he's my director. And he brought on his partner, his producing partner, who's an Academy Award nominated producer, Mark Mathis. So I've got this director, Matt Russell, this Academy Award nominated producer, Mark Mathis. And then I've got Kelly and Ryan at Cody Yellowstone are also our big partners. Jacob Graham, who's a local guy, is one of our partners. Just some incredible local partners. And man, I couldn't be more excited about it. I couldn't be more proud.
You're proving that it can be done. You're proving that even without the film incentives, it can be done. You just have to work harder.
You have to work harder, and it is more expensive. So that's the tricky part, because we are going out to investors saying, this is what we're trying to do. And it's actually to benefit the town. Yeah. We're shooting it. I wrote this set in the winter because I knew that I wanted to shoot it in Cody's off season, because I grew up watching all these all these businesses really thrive in the summer and then struggle in the winter. And so I knew that if I set it in summer, like they wouldn't, no, that's not even an option. There's so much happening in Cody. But in the summer, there's so little going on. Or sorry, the winter, there's all these open hotels, there's restaurants that need patrons. There's all sorts of things that we could be flooding cash into. And film productions bring a lot of money, because not only do you have people there for pre-production, you have people there for the production, you have people there for post-production, some of post-production, and then you've got people, you buying things for carpentry from like local lumber shops, you're buying props from Walmart or from local businesses, and then you've got hungry, tired people wanting to relax, going out to bars and restaurants after wrap. And so you've got just like all sorts of people flooding money into your town. And so that's what I wanted to offer. I wanted to bring that to Cody in its off season. So we're aiming to shoot this winter. And that's what we're going for.
Where are you at in the process? Do you have your cast yet? Do you have what are you looking at there?
Right now, we're still finalizing all the details. We were really hoping to shoot this actually last year, but then the strike really put a damper on some of that. So we had to like kind of rework some things. So right now we're just finalizing the details with our core team, and then we're gonna like officially say, no, this is what we're doing. Yeah. So I don't want to say too much right now about like where we're at specifically, but I'm really, really proud of my team. I'm really excited about all these incredible artists that have come up out of the woodwork in Cody that we're going to be working. We want to work with as many local crew as we can. We want to work with as many local, if there's local actors that want to audition, we want to do that. We want to work with, students. We want to offer opportunities to people who are interested in filmmaking to maybe join in and be a part of us somehow. So there's a lot of things we want to feed into the community with this. It's really not about, at the end of the day, what this has become so much more than just, I want to make a movie. It's actually, no, this is a community thing. I want to make a great movie, but I also want to give it to the community.
Well, we will take it. Thank you very much, Hannah. But again, you're kind of making inroads here. You're kind of plowing the way for other people who might want to do the same sorts of things, not just in Cody, but in other places in Wyoming.
Yeah.
What are some of the other projects that you've got coming up? Or is this all consuming?
No, there's so one of the other things that we're doing, one of our visions is to create a film industry in Cody. So we want to take this film to that we're doing without the film incentive, and we want to basically say, look what we did without the film incentive. Look how much more could we do if there were a film incentive? And because we want there to be an actual viable film industry, not to exploit the state in any way, but just to showcase it and to provide a year-round economic market. And so that's one of our goals. We also are hoping to launch a film festival in Cody, also in the off season, because of course we want to, pour in where it's most needed. So those are the two main things that I'm working on right now. But I also have a couple other scripts that I'm working on, and one's a comedy and another one's a really heavy drama. So they're very broad. There are lots going on. But
we had to postpone this. We were going to be doing this interview a couple of days ago, and you said, "Hey, I got an audition." So can we move it? Yeah.
There's always something that comes up. So I honestly will never know what my week looks like.
I understand this. This is my life as well.
Probably, yeah.
Yes. Tell me though, what do you love most about your life right now? What do you love most about what you're doing there? Do you feel like you're bringing Wyoming to LA and Wyoming values to such a big city that here in Wyoming, there's not a lot of people that have high opinions of Los Angeles, but you have embraced this city and you love this city.
I do. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know a lot of people who do have high opinions of LA. Even like when I lived in Portland and we were like, we're moving to LA. I was like, why? But I love Los Angeles. I think it's partly because I've learned I love the people. Los Angeles is a city of dreamers. And Los Angeles is a city of people who have left someplace to come here. There are local Angelinos, but mostly they're people that have come from someplace else to do something. And it might just be that I'm one of them, that I resonate with that. But I just really, I think I see the heart of it. It's not, yeah, there's superficiality. Sure, there's traffic. Sure, there's, all that concrete. But I think I see beneath that to the heart of it. I love the people in this industry. Also, Los Angeles is a beautiful city. If you've never been here, I think it's a really beautiful city. There's some really cool Art Deco architecture. Hollywood itself is like a mixed bag of grime and glory. It's just beautiful and smells like pee. It's like, it's all these things. But then there's Griffith Park, which is right in the middle of the city, which is this huge urban, it's like a just open space in the city, and but it's a mountain. And that's where the Hollywood sign is. That's where the Griffith Park Observatory is. If you've seen like Rebel Without a Cause or
Oh
that movie,
yeah.
La La Land, that's where Griffith Park is. La La Land did a great job of like showcasing the beautiful parts of Los Angeles. And there are many. There's also some parts that are not so beautiful, but
Those are the parts, those are the times that you miss Wyoming.
yeah. Yeah. But one of my favorite things lately is I work at a stable out here. I've started volunteering, I should say, at a barn, because for this film that I've written, I just wanted to make sure I was a really good horsewoman for it. And also for this film and others, I want to do Westerns. I love Westerns. And so I started taking lessons at a barn, and they were like, "You're trustworthy. You're not going to go crazy on us. Do you want to volunteer?" And so anyways, I work with horses a lot every week now, which is just so fun.
Boy, you really have brought a little bit of Wyoming there to Los Angeles, haven't you?
I mean, I love it. I love it here. But I do miss Wyoming too. I miss it. It's still what I consider my home.
Well, and you've got sisters here. Your sister is here. You got another sister over in Vermont.
Vermont.
But your mother's here, so you do get home. You get home frequently.
I do. Yeah. I get home
Which
as
is
often as I can. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Hannah, this has been so interesting. And we're so proud to have somebody that was really homegrown out there on the big screen. And we can say, you know what? Look at her. She followed her dreams. She followed her dreams. And yet we can share in your dream. And that's one of the beautiful things about the industry that you're in, is that we get to share in your dream.
Yeah.
Hannah, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck in your upcoming projects. We are really excited about the film incentive, about the film projects that you want to bring to Cody and to Wyoming as well. Do you have any advice for anybody who's got a dream like you, who's like, you know what? I want to sing, I want to act, but I also want to maintain my connection to my home, because you've managed to make that balance.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't remember I think it was Jim Carrey who said, you can fail at anything. You can fail at being an accountant or, something like that, something practical. So if you have a dream that you just can't shake and you feel like, oh, I should do something practical, well, just at least try, right? Try your dream, because you might fail. You probably will fail several times. I mean, I fail all the time. The average is like 75 to 100 auditions before you book one job.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm failure city over here all the time. And that's how you maintain, that's how you do this industry. So I think if you just like set out to say, no, I'm not here to book every audition. I'm not here to win every time at anything I do. I'm here for the long haul. I'm here for the journey. I'm here for the marathon. I'm here to find life in this space and to make meaning here and to contribute. And to grow and get better every time, then overall you will find yourself in a career, I think. And I think that's true for anything, whether you're a kid who wants to be a singer or a writer or an actor or another type of field that also requires a lot of effort and striving, and you just don't see a natural path forward. I think you just try it. because you can always try something else, you know? I don't think you're ever too old to try something else. But you will always regret not having tried the thing that you wanted to do. And so at least try it and at least give it your all for a good chunk of time. I mean a long time. Not like, oh, I'll give it 6 months or a year. No, give it make sure you've given all you have to that first before you move on. But then you can feel free to move on. But anyways,
I
I'm
am,
a big proponent of people trying.
well, we are so grateful to have an example like you for somebody who has really come from Wyoming and done great things, and a product of the Wyoming public school system and the product of the University of Wyoming. All the things that you experienced here have helped you succeed in your chosen career. So
Yeah.
we're just proud of you, Hannah. We're
I just
proud of
wanna
you, Hannah Barefoot.
I just feel like I want to say like some names like Larry Minari, Janet Palmer, Ann Eckhart. I mean, like all these people that were so Liz Danforth, all these people that were so Cindy Ani. I mean, all these again, I'm going to say all these people, but all these people that nurture students and pour into lifting up young artists. You know, they made a huge difference in my life. So I'm grateful to them.
And they are wonderful people. I agree. So,
Mhm.
Hannah, thank you for your time today. And thank you for being a great example for us. Folks, thank you for tuning into the Roundup. We have had a wonderful visit today with the actress Hannah Kellerby Barefoot, originally from Cody and now off making movies and hoping to make those movies here in Wyoming. So we're looking forward to that project. Folks, tune in next week. We've got more great guests coming up every week. I've been your host, Wendy Core. Have a great week.
Thank you.